Art is hard, and it's not because you need to learn techniques and have skills and whatnot. No, honestly, that stuff is child's play. You can pick it up with like a week or two of practice. And like any half competent drawing class will get you to be decent at drawing within a week to a month. So no, that's not the hard part. Most of the artwork I make is photos, and that's difficult because, as we all know, cameras aren't perfect, especially smartphone cameras, even if they do manage to capture your good looks. Sometimes you see an awesome scene, whip your camera out, snap away, and then you look at what you got and it's not great. It's not what you had in mind at all, but you can still see the potential in it, right? That's what happened to me. I was on the train, saw a nice view, turned, shot, bang. It wasn't good enough. It wasn't nearly good enough. But I loved the view, so I was determined to save it all the same. My first instinct was to copy my picture off of my phone and slap that bad boy into Clip Studio to paint over. But City Skylines 2 like just dropped, and I have terrible discipline issues, so I decided to take another approach. All right, cut. You know, I'm not much of a painter. I'm most comfortable with a gel pen and my sketchbook, just scribbling away until I have something that's surprisingly accurate yet hazy. That's like what I do, you know? Being exact with a brush has never been my forte, but this picture was just crying out to be painted. Fortunately for me, I'm not really interested in like hyper-realistic styles or anything. I think they're a little bit boring because you can literally just take a photo with your phone and get the same result. Plus, I think it's more fun when my art is more representational than like precisely accurate to whatever. Ideally, I would just get home, toss my stuff to the side, and get to work. But here's the thing. Art takes time.
Roll credits.
And I don't mean, oh yeah, it takes a while to get pieces done. No, no, no. When I say art takes time, I mean it takes it away from everything else I want to do. When I get home from work, I have homework to do, things to plan, friends to chat with. And I know that doesn't make me special. Everybody has things to do when they get home. But I'm talking about me right now. You can start your own channel. So obviously my homework comes first. Then I have to get food and talk with my family. That's more hours down. Then I turn around and it's suddenly bedtime. I barely even did anything. I don't even have time to sneak in one more thing before bed. Maybe I'll paint another day. And that's just in theory. I sort of put off working on the painting to watch basketball. I've been up for like 16 hours straight at this point. Really, I just want to crawl into a hole and wake up on the weekend. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna charge my phone for a little bit, and suddenly it's like 3 hours later and I have no idea where the time went. I wasn't even having fun. I have all these things to do, and they all warrant some serious attention, and it feels like I need to keep them all balanced on the tip of a pin. And I need to get enough sleep, which I haven't done in months. Can you tell? You can tell that I don't paint very often because I spent a really long time sketching with pencil and getting all the itty bitty precise details of this mosaic correct, only to paint over them without a care in the world once I really started going. I know it looks like I'm powering through the painting, regardless of quality, without a care in the world, but trust me, I'm trying my Kanye best. I miss you, Kanye, please escape the cloning facility. And it's not going how I expected, but what was I expecting, really? This is my first time painting in years, truth be told, so what can my expectations be, really? What is creativity really? I mean, I know the dictionary definition, hopefully placed on screen for your viewing pleasure, and now I have it. But like, what's the point? Really, what's the point if you do nothing with it? What if your vision far outstrips your talent? Obviously you practice and you get better and better at what you're doing, right? At least that's how it works in theory. In practice though, I end up with stuff like my digital art, which, I mean, it doesn't look awful, but it could look way better. And it's only gonna look better if I put more time into it. But I have to convince myself to put more time into it and do more pieces that aren't gonna look like what I envisioned. And then that's gonna continue and on and on. Point is, in my head, I know that people put a lot of practice into their digital artwork. I know that people who make really sick pieces have a lot more time, a lot more practice, a lot more effort put in than I have. And like, I know that, but does my heart know it? No, my heart sees, oh, you see your piece? It's not up to the standard of what you want to do. Why are you even bothering? And like, again, I know that it takes time and effort and care to get better and better, but like, I'm tired. I just got home. I'm fighting sleep. I have homework to do. I can feel the pull of all the other things I wanted to do today. And it's all this versus the fact that I know that I'm not where I want to be. And I know I can get better. And oftentimes, I'm like, all right, you know what? I can do the art later. But I know I can be better. And I want to be better, but will I put in the effort to get where I need to be? Art takes consistency. I've always been inconsistent with my creative output. And yes, that's normal. Even the greatest to ever do it have that problem. That Martin guy made a big show. He's like got a terrible case of it. But it feels like either an idea screams into my skull like a bolt out of the blue, and I start working on it day and night, not even getting sleep until it's done, or I get bored, put it aside, and feel guilty about it. So, yeah! Fortunately, I know that doesn't only apply to me. I have a lot of creative friends, and the top things that we talk about are how to get more consistent, how to get over art block, and how to be able to do what we can visualize instead of what we can, you know, do. We didn't get to our talent levels overnight, but there's this weird tendency that we have where we know that that's true in our heads, but in our hearts, we don't feel like we're doing good enough. I mean, it's not quite imposter syndrome, but it definitely sucks all the same. Did I mention that I got the paint and canvas and borrowed the easel from my mom? Since she's always been an artist and she's an art teacher, I have access to like her stuff and her advice and her recommendations. Like, I literally learned Photoshop at first because she'd be at the computer nursing me, and I was like watching her do her thing on the computer. And since she's great, and I know that I can do better, I put pressure on myself, you know? Pressure to do better, pressure to be great myself, pressure to measure up. And it's not like she's gonna clown on me for any of my work, even if I do something wrong or make a mistake or it's unsuccessful. She's never been anything but supportive and encouraging of my creative endeavors, and I completely appreciate that. But it feels like there's a legacy that I have to uphold, and if I don't do that, then it's just gonna feel like failure. You know that point in like every project where you realize that you're in too deep, but you're so close to finishing that you feel it. You just gotta see it through and it'll be done really quickly. Is that oddly specific? Maybe? No? Anyone? Well, it was 2:30 a.m. I needed to be up for work in like 5 hours. And despite knowing this, I pulled out the detail brush and proceeded to mix gray paint and try and get the details of this mosaic right for the benefit of nobody except me, because who is going to care how accurate these are? Anyways, after about an hour of painting, I got it done, because apparently doing art makes me care way too much about details. Plus it was like, it's the one last thing. Anyways, like I was saying, an hour later.
The next stop is Carroll Street.
Everybody knows the saying, practice makes perfect. But what most people aren't familiar with is its actual true corollary. Practice doesn't make perfect, but it definitely makes better. Just like almost every creative person out there, I think I'm living proof.
What's up, guys? It's J55.
This is my first YouTube video ever. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a microphone. I didn't have editing software, nothing. I had Windows Movie Maker. If you remember that, please don't. I didn't know how to cut. I didn't know how to add text. I couldn't even put images on top of what I was doing. So whatever I came up with wasn't what I had envisioned. And at that point, I didn't quite know how to fix it. Of course I wanted to quit. I really wanted to quit. But I stuck with it, you know? My friend Xavier and I started making Minecraft Let's Plays together one afternoon. And we'd get together every week and we'd work on our adventures. We'd play some survival, we'd edit our videos, and we'd put them together, right? We were largely doing the same thing I was doing on my first channel, just a little more refined and a little snappier. But ultimately, we were just high school kids making haha funny Let's Plays when we got home from school. There wasn't much more to it. I didn't even know that things like custom thumbnails were important, so I didn't bother. I just slapped them up there and I was like, why am I not getting views? Naturally, that channel went nowhere. It's basically just stored on YouTube and in the back of my memories like Bing Bong, may he rest in peace. And I stopped making videos, at least for a while. My heart wasn't in it, college started, and I had bigger fish to fry, right? But there was always a little part of me just sort of tugging, saying, make videos. You need to make videos. Do it. Do it. I got my hands on my first headset mic around this time, and I figured that since I finally had decent equipment, I could do great things.
I got a 5-step program that can take you from going like this.
And I mean, I was wrong. I don't know what I was cooking with that audio quality. I was tweaking. If I could go back in time, I'd write a letter to my younger self, and the first one would be like, don't use the headset mic. Throw it out. These days, I rewatch these videos, and honestly, I'm just lost. So many things that I didn't get right, that I didn't even know I was doing wrong. But it doesn't mean that I found perfection, no. I kept at it, got bored talking about the same game all of the time, and moved on to just talking about stuff. Again, the growing pains are there. Visuals were lacking, can't even hear what was going on in some of them. Ironic, I know. And I mean, what was Blood thinking with this one? What was bro cooking? Gotta be dubious food. Please don't watch my old videos. They're kind of bad up until like right here. And I bring all this up to say that practice doesn't make perfect. It doesn't even necessarily mean that you'll get to where you want to be. It doesn't mean that you'll become a star. But that's okay. It's about the fun little journey and how you get better anyway. Life is all about stopping and smelling the roses, or paints as it were. Picking up tips and tricks that nobody told you and you figured out yourself. There's a joy in that, just like there's a feeling of satisfaction in completing a piece, or finally nailing that one thing that you haven't gotten down for a long time. And remember, failure is always an option. I sketch people's faces on the train, or at least I try to, and it doesn't always go well. Sometimes they move, or I get things horribly wrong, and that's okay, it's all part of the process. It's practice. And the goofiness can be fun. I mean, thank you, Commandant F Train, very cool. And the goofiness can be fun, honestly. Look at Greg here, just a doofy little guy with a very smushed face. And without him, I wouldn't have been able to draw this entire subway car. And even then, I made mistakes. Perfection, I think, is kind of an unreasonable ask. I'm in your area, I'm in your area. Oh yeah, and one more thing. I was supposed to do this painting 2 weeks ago. Naturally, I ended up putting it off for like a week and a half because that's just how I roll. Me and time management are like soap and eyes. But like, it looks like a good foundation. Me and abstractish art are good friends at this point, and I'm glad that I did it. It might have taken forever to convince myself to get started, but once I started, I didn't really want to finish up. Wait, am I just the grown version of the kid who doesn't want to take a shower, but then has to get in the shower? And then when it's time for the shower to be over, he's like, I don't want to get out of the shower. Please do not quote me on that. But really, this kind of does just speak to the value of forcing yourself to do it. Even when you've got massive art block, or you think you're washed, or you think you'll never make anything worth appreciating, you gotta keep at it. Even when you've got massive art block, or you think that you're washed, or you think that you'll never make a piece that will ever be worth appreciating, you gotta keep at it. Even though there will be setbacks and frustrations along the way, you gotta realize that it really doesn't matter. Caring about it is just your brain's way of being mean to you. You can do great, you are doing great, and one day you will reach that magical place where your ability to visualize and your ability to do the art starts to come in sync. You just have to keep going until you get there. Gotta say, if you made it through that essay at the very end, you're a member of the Real Ones Club. Appreciate you. And if you're a member of the Real Ones Club and you're not subscribed yet, you best get that sorted, dog. Come on, the button's like right down there. Also, I'd like to shout out my patrons. They've been here since time immemorial, and they help keep this project funded. I really do appreciate y'all. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.